Hi everyone, so today I want to show you how I made this little picnic basket. Now I made this a few years ago now, but it's quite cute because obviously all the sides lift up, either side, so you've got like a little picnic basket, and also I've put some little, some shredded paper in there as well. This was made using, this one in particular was made using Paper Mill Direct's card. This was a 240 GSM card. I just used the same for the whole thing, and then I just embossed, and if you can see the embossing on it, I just embossed the lid before I folded it. It's just really nice, and obviously I've got some Dovecraft ribbons, not Dovecraft ribbons on the top there, and some little gems, and a little brad, and it's just a really cute little basket. I made another one. This was using some double-sided pattern card that I got from the range, and again, it's just a little basket. It's very cute, and I've just put jewels on the top of it, and that was a double-sided card. That was. You kind of don't want to go too much below. This is about a 200 GSM card, and then the Paper Mill Direct one was about a 240, and the 240 is a nice weight. It's a good sturdy basket, so I would say 240 is probably the lowest you want to go with this. You don't want to go much lower than that. So we're going to have a go and crack on with it. So you're going to need three bits of card, two big bits, and one for the base, one for the handle, and one for the lid. Okay. Now I have in the past used exactly the same one on the top as on the bottom, and just flipped it round, so you've got like, so say for example you've got that pattern on one side and then you've got that on the bottom. That would be for the base and that would be for the lid. But for this one I just really like the wood on this, and I thought the two went really nicely. So for the lid, your lid needs to be 11 inches long by 8 inches wide. So if you've got a pattern like I have that has a kind of a right way up, then and you want it to be like, you know, I've got it obviously long and tall, then you want it to be 8 inches wide and 11 inches tall. Okay, if it's in any way up pattern, it doesn't really matter, but that's for the lid. Then the base is 10 7/8 by 7 7/8. Now with the base, I would recommend you use a pattern that doesn't have a right way up, because if you look at this one for example, so I've used the honeycomb. You've got bits that are that way up, but obviously on the other side they would be upside down. So you need to make sure that it's an any way up pattern. Even for the lid is best to, but you can, I mean obviously I've chosen, as I said, I've chosen a right way up pattern for the lid on this, because it doesn't, it's going to be like that. It's going to be, you know, a long way, so it's fine. You haven't really got anything that upside down, and also because it's floor, you can get away with it. So yeah, so this one needs to be 10 7/8 by 7 7/8, okay? Then you also need another piece, which is the handle, and I usually go for the same pattern as the one that I've chosen for the base, and this is 2 inches by 10 inches. Now we're going to start with the handle first, just because it's just easy. So we're going to get that out of the way first. So with your 2 inch by 10 inch piece, you're just going to score it at 1/2 inch and at 1.5 inches. Okay, now in the past I've just done a 1 inch handle, 1 by 10, but I find that if you do it this way, it just reinforces it and makes it a lot stronger. So we're going to put that to one side for now, and we're going to come back to that in a bit. Okay, so just put that to one side. Okay, so next we're going to do the base. So on the base, you're just going to put it in, and you're going to score at 2 inches on all 4 sides. So 2 inches. 2 inches. Apologies if you can't see my score lines, because I've got a wood pattern. But I'm just literally scoring it on 2 inches, rotating, 2 inches, rotating all the way round. So you end up, that's even busier on that side, but you end up with 2 inches all the way round, okay? And then I'm going to put that to one side as well. We're going to come back to that. I'm just going to get all the scoring done, and then we'll come back to this in a minute after we've scored the lid. So with the lid, let's get the lid out. Here we go. So with the lid, if you get it along the long edge, you want to score it at 7/8 and at 2 inches, at 5 inches and at 6 inches, at 9 inches and at 10 1/8. Okay, so that's all of the scoring along the long edge. Then on the short edge, you want to score it at 7/8, at 2 inches, at 6 inches, and at 7 1/8. Okay, so that's that one. Now it's going to be a bit difficult to. I'm going to turn this over because it's probably a bit easier to see the score lines on that side. So I'm going to put my scoreboard away because I don't need that anymore. I need to keep my bone folder, but I don't need my board. And what we're going to do is I'm going to come back to that in a minute. So let's do the easy ones first. Let's start with the base first. So we're going to go back to the base again. So if it's a bit of chopping and changing, it's just because I like to get all the scoring done in one go, and then we can start cutting it out. So what you want to do to start with is if you fold along all your score lines to start with. Okay, so you should end up with that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come in with a pair of scissors and we're just going to cut down from the from this side here. So along the long edge, you know your 2-inch line there, you're going to cut up your 2-inch line and then just notch it ever so slightly, and the same on this line up here. Again, you're going to cut up there and then notch it ever so slightly. Okay, and I'm also, so that's those two sides. You can see it's not evenly notched, but that's fine. As long as you've got a bit of a notch, that's fine. I'm also going to just slightly notch out these ends as well, just because sometimes I find that the use bigger scissors actually. Sometimes I find that when you, because what's going to happen is this is going to come up like that, and then it's going to come over the top, and even here you can see it's just slightly bigger, and I don't know why it does that. It's obviously my measuring or my scoring, not sure, but we're just going to notch that bit out, and then it just means then it's a bit wobbly, that is, but anyway, doesn't matter. It's going to be on the inside of the box. Obviously you can do it a bit neater. Okay, so that's that and that's that. I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Okay, so you're left with that, and you hopefully, even though I've got wood behind, you should hopefully be able to see. If I turn it over, you might be able to see it. No, let's put it that way. So I've got little notches there, and also on the ends. So now you want to get some red tape. I'm going to use my thick red tape and also some slightly thinner red tape, and we're going to put it on these 4 tabs here. Okay, so once you've put all of your red tape on, just going to go start in one corner, peel off the backing, and then just going to bring it up so the corners match, and you have a nice square corner, and that's one corner of your box. Now if you use a very busy pattern like I have, you can't actually see the tabs inside, because there is a tab here, but it's such a busy pattern, you're really difficult to see. So that's one advantage of using a busy pattern. Obviously a disadvantage is that when you're scoring you can't see your score lines, but yeah, it does help when you're doing something like this. If you haven't got a busy pattern and the tab inside bothers you, you can always make panels to go inside that will hide it along here. So I'm just going to go ahead and carry on with these last 2 corners. Okay, so there's the base of your picnic basket. Okay, nice and easy. It's just basically like just a little box. That template's quite a good template to use for, you could make a little lid for that if you wanted to. If you just sized it up just ever so slightly and did exactly the same again, you could make a little lid that fitted on top for a different box. But anyway, so that's the box done. So we're going to put that to one side, and we're going to do the next easiest bit, which is the handle. So the handle, you just want to fold along your 2 score lines that you've got and burnish them. Like that. And then if you open it up, on those 2 1/2 inch strips, you want to put some red tape or wet glue, whatever you want to use. And then what we're going to do, take the backing off, and you're just literally going to turn that over and stick it down. And the same with that one. And it just makes you a reinforced handle. There we go. Okay, and the only thing left to do with the handle is to just turn it over. So this is the wrong side, this is the right side. And you're just going to very gently, with your hand, just start curling it, like we did with the Easter basket that I did a few weeks ago. Just start coaxing it and curling it round. And it just means then you get a nice kind of even loop on your handle when you get to stick it down. Okay, so you can put that to one side as well. So now we're going to bring in the lid. Now the lid's a bit more tricky. I'm going to start cutting it and you'll see. So hopefully you can see my score lines, hopefully. Hopefully you can see I've got a score line here and a score line here. You've got 2 in the middle, that's your 5 inch and your 6 inch line, and then you've got 2 here. Okay, so what you want to do is start cutting using your scissors. I'm going to start in the bottom corner. Okay, and I'm hoping you can see this. So at the bottom, the first, so this is like the first section, second section. So you're only dealing with those 4 squares. Of those 4 squares, these 3 here in this like reverse L, they need to come off, but that one needs to stay. But what we need to do is we just need to notch this first. So this square is coming off, but it's also taking off a tiny bit of this one next to it, this rectangle next to it. Then we're going to go straight up the next line, so we meet the score line going the other way. Then we're going to go all the way up here, all the way up there to there. We're going to cut this off, and again I'm just going to notch it slightly like that, and then we're going to cut this square off here. Okay, and then all I need to do is just to notch that to make it more like a tab and less of a rectangle, square. I suppose it's more square, isn't it? Okay, so that is your bottom corner. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. We're going to repeat that again on well, if you turn the whole thing round like that, so that what was your bottom becomes your top. Repeat the same thing on the bottom. Just because you're doing it the same way round, it's kind of easier for you to remember what you're doing and to get your head around it. So we're going to notch that first bit. Going to go all the way up to the second line. Then we're going to come over here and we're going to go all the way up to there. We're going to notch this little bit out just a little bit, like that. Then we're going to cut that bit off. And then lastly, we're just going to notch this tab. Okay, so then you end up with that so far. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, but a mirror image of that over here. If you want to, and your pattern is such that you turn it over and you can still see the score lines, then you can turn it over and just carry on doing it in that bottom right hand corner. Mine's a bit busy, so I'm going to keep on this side because I can see my score lines better on this side. So we're going to notch the first bit. So it's just basically a mirror of what we've been doing. Go straight up, and then we go straight up this one here, and then we're going to cut this off and notch it like that, so those 2 come off. We're going to cut that one off there, I'm going to leave that inner one, and then we're just going to notch it out like that, there and there. Okay, and then turn it round and do the same on this side. Right, so now you've got that, that's what you should end up with. And turn it over so maybe you can see it a bit better. You're now going to deal with these 2 lines here. So you've obviously got your 5 inch line and your 6 inch line. So what you're going to do is you're just literally going to cut straight up just cut straight up your 5-inch line till you reach the second one going the other way, and the same with the 6. You just cut all the way up till you reach the other one going the other way. Okay, and then all you're going to do is you're just going to again notch out this edge, that edge, and that edge. Okay, you just don't want them bumping up against each other, that's all. So we're just going to notch those out like that. Okay, so that's that, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to fold and burnish all of our score lines. So we're going to fold, this is the wrong side, this is the right side. So I'm going to fold everything inwards. Okay, so I've folded and burnished all of the score lines. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, turn our card over so we've got the right side facing up, and these 4 tabs here we're going to put a bit of red tape on them. You can use wet glue if you want to as well. Okay, so we've got red tape on all 4 corners, all 4 tabs, and then if you turn it over, you're now going to put tape along all of these edges. So all these outside edges is where you need to now put tape. Okay, so that's what your box should look like, your lid should look like now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take these little tabs, we're going to peel the backing off, and then you're just going to stick them to the other side, just here, like that. Make sure you get a nice right angle. And you're going to do that with all of your 4 tabs that are in the corners. Okay, so you've kind of got that is what's left, and you've got obviously all these little flappy bits there. These 2 on the outside here, we're going to take the tape off and just literally fold them over on themselves like that, and it just reinforces those 2 tabs. Okay, so that gives you that. So now what we want to do, before we go any further, is fold our 5-inch and 6-inch lines, and they're going to fold the other way. So they're going to fold outwards because that's your picnic basket lid. Just give it a bit of a crease, and the same with the other one. Okay, so that you get that. So now what we're going to do is take off all of the rest of the backing of the tape and just fold them over and stick them down. So you do hide those tabs, and it also reinforces them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so that's what you should end up with. So it's all nicely finished off inside, and it's all ready to go. So now what you want to do is if you bring your base back in, turn this over and just fit it over the top and tuck those little flappy bits. So basically the lid, this side here, the rim of the lid, or the side of the lid, what we're going to call it, that needs to be on the outside of the base, but these bits need to be on the inside. So we're just going to hold those in as we put these on. So like that. So can you see how I've got those little bits I've just tucked in, and you can see the base through it, okay? So what you want to do now is if you take your handle, and you're going to place it on so that the base of the handle here is in line with the base of the lid, okay? So you're just going to hold it on, and then you can either measure it if you want to or just guesstimate it, and you just want to find roughly where halfway is, like central. So that's about central there, okay? And then turn it round. You do the same on the other side. So hold it in place, find out, guesstimate roughly where halfway is. It's about there. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to take a punch, and you're going to, like one of the belt punches, and you're going to punch, or a crocodile, whatever you got, and you're going to punch a little hole there for your brad to go through. Okay, so this is the sort of thing I mean, this sort of punch, or as I said, you can use a crocodile. You just want to go in and punch out that hole. Okay, so there's one hole, same on the other side. Okay, so now what you're going to do, take your box, lay this back on, and you're going to draw through the hole onto the side of the base. So I can see, you probably can't see it, but I can see there's a little mark there, which is where I'm going to punch my hole. Turn it over, do the same with the other side. Make sure you do actually turn your handle around, because otherwise you might have punched it somewhere different on one side than you did on the other side. Okay, so this is for this side. So I've done I'm just going to move the lid for a second, and I'm going to punch that hole and then punch the other hole. And then we're just going to put the lid back on again. Leave the little flaps facing inside, like that. And then what you're going to do is take your pencil and you're just going to poke through it and just try and draw a little dot on that flap. If you find it a bit tricky, then you might want to open it up, hold it into position, open it up, and then draw so you've got something to press against. Same on the other side. Let me open the other lid. Okay, yeah, I can see that. So then, again, you're going to punch that hole as well. Is that it there? Let me just do that a bit better because I couldn't see. There we go. There we go. And then we're going to punch that hole. Okay, so now you need to bring in two little brads. I've got these little glittery ones that were given to me. So we want to put the lid back on and make sure you've got it lined up with the right hole. Obviously if you measure it, I'm going to worry so much. But I'm putting that on, I can see my holes pretty much line up. If you check the other side, yeah, they line up. Okay, that's cool. So then we want to do is take our handle, place it on, and then you're going to stick your brad. Now you're best at this point to open up the flap, open up one side, stick your brad through your handle first, like that. Then you stick it through the side of the box and then through the little flappy bit. This is the fiddly bit. This is a bit fiddly, this is, but it's not too bad. So there like that, poke that through like that, and then with it, open up. I'm going to have to do that. I'm sorry if you can't see it. I'm kind of do it blind myself. So inside, if you can see that, just in there, I've split the wings. Okay, so that's the side. And then we're going to turn it over and do exactly the same thing on the other side. So tuck that bit in, take your other handle, take your brad, put the brad through the handle, put the brad through the side, and then put the brad through the flap. And it is a bit fiddly, but it helps the fact that you can pull these sides up. And then just fold your wings down, and there's your handle. Just make sure that these little bits of the lid stick up, and there you have your basket. And then all you need to do is just decorate it however you want to decorate it. Obviously these come up, but it's quite a decent size picnic basket. So the base, the actual like dimensions of the basket are, I know some of you are going to ask me, so 7 inches long by 4 inches wide and height it is 2 inches, 2 inches high. So it's a decent basket, to be honest with you. You can get a lot in there. And it's just quite nice. And as I said, this is 200 GSM cards. So for me, that's a little bit, like on the sides, a little bit flimsy. You could use a reinforced box as your base if you wanted to. Your lid's nice and strong. Not your lid, your handle's nice and strong because you've got obviously double width there. But if you use more of a 240, 250 kind of GSM card, which this was, then it's a lot more substantial. And obviously embossing it has helped as well, because it's helped to, it's not just one little piece of card. You've kind of, the ridges create a bit of strength to it. So yeah, so hopefully you enjoy that. And obviously the other thing where you can put ribbon around here if you want to, like I did on this one. Put ribbon around the base. And I put ribbon over the handle. If you do want to put ribbon on, then you need to do that before you obviously stick your handle down. And you'll also need to just pierce your ribbon so you can get the brad through it. But I felt I don't really need ribbon on this one because I've got a pattern on it anyway. It's actually really pretty. It's actually turned out a lot prettier than I thought it was going to. So I think what I'm going to do is add a few little pearls or something on it just to zhuzh it up a little bit. And yeah, there's my basket. So I hope you enjoyed today. Please like and subscribe, and I thank you for everybody who has subscribed so far. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please do, because it helps me out, but also it means you will get if you hit the notification bell, you will be notified of when I do a video. I try and upload every Friday at midday, but there might be other times when I upload other things during the week. Occasionally I do that, and going forward I might be doing that, I don't know. But yeah, if you subscribe you won't miss out on anything, and obviously it helps me out as well. So thank you everybody who subscribed so far, and we will see you next time. Bye.